Hey everybody, I'm Peyton. I'm super excited to share with you guys what I've been walking through every morning. I'm reading 1 Thessalonians again right now, and I'm in chapter 2, verses 1 through 4. And this is what I read, so I just wanted to share what went through my mind when I read it this morning. All right, chapter 2, verse 1. For you yourselves know, brothers, that our coming to you was not in vain. But though we had already suffered and been shamefully treated at Philippi, as you know, we had boldness in our God to declare to you the gospel of God in the midst of much conflict. For our appeal does not spring from error or impurity or any attempt to deceive, but just as we have been approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel, so we speak, not to please man, but to please God who tests our hearts. So in verse 1, the author of this book starts with, for you yourselves know. And if you go back and read chapter 1, Paul has already used that 3 other times, for you know, for you yourselves know. And I love that I didn't really get it until I got all the way down to chapter 2, but that being reminded, not just because we're forgetful, but being reminded and lovingly giving others reminders just has this like stabilizing quality to it. Me and my friends back home are doing this thing every day where we're writing on 2 sheets of paper or in a notebook, and one side is all of the things that we don't know, like what will today look like, or will I have a job this summer? And on the other side is all of the things we do know. God is good. He is for us. He has good plans for me to prosper me, that he lays good works before me. And soon enough, that list of what I do know just fills the page. And it's real stabilizing truth that as you're writing it out and taking that time and having like intention and that slowness, you can actually just feel anxiety like melt away and your heartbeat slows and your it's just a really good time to just start with what you know is true. So I love that Paul, right, chapter 2, verse 1 starts with, for you yourselves know, brothers, and just starting with the truth, that our coming to you is not in vain. But though we had already suffered and been shamefully treated at Philippi, as you know, we had boldness in our God to declare to you the gospel of God in the midst of much conflict. So I love that Paul and the people that are writing this with him had been shamefully treated at Philippi, that they endured a lot of shame and suffering, and then immediately went to Thessalonica, where these people are, and that they did not let their reality shape their response to the gospel in the way that they respond to their reality to the Thessalonians. So I just wanted to like reflect on that and challenge myself how like when has like shame or guilt or suffering produced boldness in my life, that they came back even stronger, and how I want to look back at this time of uncertainty or loneliness or and just like how has this like time of suffering, how will it produce boldness in my life? And so I love looking to Paul and these others as my example. So in verse 3, he says, for our appeal does not spring from error or impurity or any attempt to deceive. I love that just because it's that heart check of like, why do we do what we do? And Paul preaches this message because he believes it. Not because he wants to deceive or because they're wrong. It's just because like we have such conviction that the message we carry like is the word of life, and that we can change and save lives because of it. And so just wanting to have that same drive and conviction in everything I do too. And lastly, verse 4, but just as we have been approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel, so we speak, not to please man, but to please God who tests our hearts. I love that. Just that I need to remember that every day I wake up is a gift, that it is work done not for man but for God, and that I don't want to be working towards worldly things. I want everything that I do to be putting treasure in heaven. My mom has this thing that she texts us, like, only eternal things, guys. And that's just like our little unspoken code about like when we get too involved in like what the world wants to say that is successful or what we should be doing right now during quarantine. And mom's famous quote is only eternal things, guys. So I love that. I want to remember that I'm not working to please man, I'm working to please God. And I don't want to get to the end of my life thinking that I've only built up treasure here. So that's it. Thanks for sticking with me. Just some takeaways. Remember truth to stabilize you for the rest of the day. Ask yourself how your reality doesn't have to shape your response, that suffering and pain can produce boldness. Check your pureness of heart. What are your motivations to do what you do? And then bring it back around what was in verse 4 about doing all things for God and not to please man. I hope you guys have a great day. Sorry it was a little bit long, but if you listened to all of it, I appreciate you. All right, bye guys.